Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Pilot Talks, a 10-minute series by iScale Group, where we dive deep into the mysterious world of pilot projects. As you know, we are launching a venture fund where we will be exclusively focused on financing pilot projects between corporates and startups. And, it's a journey for us as well. And through this journey, we wanted to spotlight insights from people in the ecosystem, the people who make pilots happen. So obviously the founders, the corporates, lawyers later, because we all need a good lawyer, whether it's a pilot or an investment, and also other stakeholders like accelerators, subject matter experts, and so on. And today I'm very excited because I have a very, very special guest, Felix Wollenhaupt. I hope I could pronounce it correctly, the co-founder of Green Elephant Biotech. And the reason why I'm super excited because Felix was very, very busy with his project. And actually we had to cancel it a few times, but finally we are here. So hi, Felix, welcome to the show.
Hello, and thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So Felix, what is Green Elephant Biotech?
Yeah, sure. So Green Elephant Biotech is a life science tool and equipment manufacturer. We started in 2021 as a university spinout, and by now are a team of over 20 people in 2 different locations in Germany, in Berlin and in Gießen. And the first product we developed, and which was basically the start of Green Elephant Biotech, was a novel cell cultivation device we call CellScrew. It's only for adherent cells, and it enables the scale up for commercial companies within the cell and gene therapies from R&D to commercial production without changing the environments for the cells, and therefore really reduces time to market and risk. And it's special about it is also that it's completely 3D printed using plant-based materials, PLA mostly, and that's also what we looked into then afterwards. We also developed a couple of other products where we facilitated our material knowledge.
Well, it's very impressive, and also it sounds very, very techy. And you mentioned your university spin-off, and actually I have a question here. So how do you see pilots in the biotech space? And actually my question is not only for biotech, but also I often see where the founders are researchers or coming with a very, very tech heavy or science heavy, I would say, background. The pilots here have a different meaning. So first of all, university environment, a pilot can mean rather a proof of concept or something like that. But in biotech, I often see, even if it is with corporates, it's still like a testing or validation compared to what I see with fintechs, say, for instance, where when we say pilot, we actually mean an integration and scale of a new technology as a small scale demo first, and then, that is a pilot and it will go viral within the company if it gets adopted, or more companies. So how do you see this?
Yes, I would agree. In general, I would say these kind of pilots, or we would like to refer to them as collaborations, are just absolutely essential. I would say even for both, for corporates, but also for startups. I will talk about this in a second. But it usually means a joint development. So you said it's basically validating of their technology. That's right. But it's also a lot more than that, because it's also building up trust on both sides. And that's really important also when you consider to look for a partner to develop a joint product. And I think that's really, really important. Why is it good for the corporate? I think it gets them access to new technologies, which they probably wouldn't get firsthand. Otherwise, if they would develop it, it would be a lot more costly for them. Why is it good for the startup? It gets startup access basically to market know-how, market knowledge, and also access to the customer base.
Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense. And can I have a question, like around the commercial aspect of it? How easy it is to commercialize these pilots? Like during development, does it take longer, or how do you see it?
Yes, I think in general, if you talk about these pilots and joint developments, it's taking a lot longer usually than you expect. So you're talking usually about several years. It's
Mhm.
probably completely different to a pilot in the SaaS space. And that's something you need to be prepared for, right? Because during this pilot time, you probably won't earn a lot of money out of this pilot project with a customer. And that's why it's probably reasonable to raise enough money to be able to withstand this time. And it's something where you also look to mitigate your risk, that you cannot only do one kind of project, that you probably have to have several of these kind of pilots ongoing at the same time.
Yeah, it also makes sense. And when we met, actually within the first 3 minutes, you told me, because I obviously when I introduced myself, I told you what we are doing. And when I mentioned to you that we are planning to finance pilot projects, you told me like the idea is great because actually you needed to raise a much bigger round, and it would have made sense to raise it after a pilot. So when you do a pilot or at least secure the contract, and then so you had to raise a much bigger round compared to what you actually needed to just do the pilot and stay alive. How did it affect your cap table?
So yeah, first of all, in general, it's always I would say in biotech it's really important just to raise enough capital that you're able also to adapt to changes maybe in the collaborations. Could always be that a collaboration would take longer than anticipated. That's actually quite common. And if you just didn't raise enough money for it, then you're in a hard place because you don't have a lot of options left then. So that's why we also chose to raise a bigger round, just to be able to have some more buffer, right? How did it affect our cap table? So basically, we started off when we founded Green Elephant with a business angel round. So we had in the beginning, we had a couple of angels coming in. Then we did have some small VCs coming in. And then just by end of last year, we had a strategic investor now joining our cap table. So we have a good mix of both, but it's still quite organized, I guess.
Brilliant. And I know that these pilots in the biotech space are quite risky. So how do you mitigate risk when entering a pilot?
So I would say absolutely crucial is a comprehensive risk assessment before you enter in this kind of pilots. So several risks are very important. So for example, we looked at the market risk, about the development risk, financial risk, compliance risk, all these kind of types. Even reputational risk could be important. And that's something, because of the duration of these kind of pilot projects, that's something where you have to dive deep into these topics and do a comprehensive assessment. That's also what we did. Yeah, I think you just have to find some strategies to mitigate these risks for each and every one, and just stick to them.
And would you have any advice to biotech startups who are about to start a pilot?
Yes, so my first advice would be go get a good commercial lawyer because these kind of contracts can be really, really tricky and long. So as an amateur, so if you don't have a strong legal background, I strongly advise you not to sign it by your own. So just get some strong legal advice, but also before you enter into this negotiation, think about your red lines. What is the minimum amount you want to get for your technology? What are you willing to give away? And then just stick to it. Don't ever undercut your red line. And then the last one would be prepared that it will take longer than you anticipated originally, because it probably will. So it can easily take up until, I don't know, like 12 months, 18 months for negotiation. It's not uncommon. So this is a lot of time, this is a lot of money, but it's actually quite common.
Before the last question, can I have an extra one? Just a quick one.
Of
So
course.
basically, I'm really curious here. So how do you see, if you enter in a collaboration with a corporate about the pilot, would it make your next round easier to raise? Saying that, okay, hi, I have this biotech VR in the middle of, so because we were talking about like, okay, how much bandwidth do you need? And you mentioned that is often better to raise a bigger round, but also, it can distort your cap table if you raise too much too early. And we see that there's a huge valuation increase as soon as you onboarded a big corporate, even just as a joint partner. So how do you see this topic?
So I would say, in general, the collaboration itself is usually not on its own a factor which would allow you to raise on a larger valuation. It's always about the outcomes and the milestones. If you manage to hit your milestones which you defined, and you can show to an investor, hey, that's something what we try to do, and we managed to do this on time. We managed to, bring a proof of concept of our product, and it was validated by customer XY, then it's probably something which can really help you in the next rounds. But in general, just to have a collaboration ongoing, I think this itself will probably not help you too much
Yeah,
for raising a
obviously.
bigger round.
An unsuccessful pilot doesn't help. Yeah, so you need to be very careful what you promise to the corporate partner. I totally agree with that. And we have a very standard but even important last question that we ask from every guest. So Felix, how the audience can help you the most? Is there anything that you are currently looking for, or anything that you would like to share? How can the listeners help you?
Yes, thanks for asking. So in general, as a startup, we're always interested in building collaborations, and we're just really focusing on the life science industry, so, and in detail in the cell and gene therapy industry. So whenever we have companies who are willing to look into co-developments with us, we are interested and take a deeper look into that. So this could mean, for example, to build another TC surface treatment for our cell cultivation device, but it could also be just to replace existing plastics in the market and make it just more sustainable, to just really reduce the CO2 footprint. So we are really open and are quite flexible in a lot of ways, if it makes sense for both sides. And so if you're willing to look into this, please reach out.
Brilliant. Felix, thank you very much. It was a brilliant session. Thanks for your insights. And listeners, actually, I have news to share. So we are on YouTube now, also on Spotify, and obviously on LinkedIn. So please follow us there. And if you have anything to comment or add, please share with us. And please stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you again, Felix. And thanks very much for tuning in, guys.
Thanks.